All right, Heather says we're on. Video today, inspired by questions that we're getting a lot, which is great, right? These are valid questions for somebody looking at becoming a member, and even sometimes somebody who is already a member for Helicopter Airline Ground School. I am Kenny Keller, curator of Helicopter Airline Ground School, and there are several different endorsements that you're going to have through the training. So we're going to explain to you exactly what we do and what we do not do and the reasons why we do it the way that we do it, okay? So first off, that's a video when we first really got the written test out there and had the FAA Wings program going where it's associated with the written test. I'm going to have Heather roll that first. It's pretty short, but it explains in detail how the written test is set up along with a completion certificate for the written test that's also available to Wings for Wings credit. So we're going to go ahead and roll that now. Hey, it's Kenny with Helicopter Airline Ground School. Got something cool that we've had in place that I want to tell you about. We've had this in place for quite a while. So now we have written test practice for the private pilot, instrument pilot, commercial pilot, and certified flight instructor. So we have FAA written test practice questions. So as you're going through the videos, you're studying, you're learning, you're watching the videos, you're learning the information. Once you get through the videos, you can take an FAA practice test. And at the end, you can score it, of course. You got to score 70 or above. You can take the test as many times as you want. We put a lot of time and effort in building this. We even had to go out and get a software developer to build the integration between our site, the written test site, and the FAA so that when you get done taking the practice test, you can get Wings credit for going through the videos, consuming the videos, and taking the written test. So this is really kind of a neat, and this video kind of touches on several subjects because we get asked a lot, well, hey, do you have written test practice? Or does, HOGS help me with the written test? So the answer is yes. And then the bonus on top of that is, once you take that, because of the integration that we built, once you're done, I can't talk, been a long day. Once you're done, our site reports automatically to the FAA. So if you're already signed up on the FAA safety site, you're already getting Wings credit, your credit will show up there. And sometimes it takes a day or two for it to show up. But if you're not yet involved with the FAA Wings program, it still reports to the FAA site. Then when you go to the FAA site later to join up to get your credit, it will be there. Let's say 3 months down the road, you go, hey, you know what? I think I want to get involved with this FAA Wings program. When you log in, boom, you sign up, you log in. Your credits will be there waiting for you. Yes, it helps you with the written test for private commercial instrument CFI. Once you pass 70% or better, you can print off the certificate yourself right there, boom, from your computer. And our site automatically reports to the FAA for the FAA Wings program. So it's a really neat deal. We're 8 days into our holiday. Okay, so hopefully that helps clear up a little bit about what kind of certificate you can get. That certificate is for taking the practice test. This isn't the actual FAA test, it's just practice test. But you go through the videos, we talk about written test during the training, you can sample the practice test, you can print that off, and that's available for Wings credit. That is the completion that's something that you can actually print off. People will say, well, do you have a certificate for just completing the videos? At this time, we don't, because to me, going through a series of videos, the idea is that you go through the series of videos to get the knowledge that you need, okay? We do have progress tracking, and we can tell exactly how many video every person has watched, and you have that as a member inside Helicopter Airline Ground School. You can also keep track of all the videos. But, any one person could be just sitting there letting videos roll one after another, and if you're not watching, you're napping, you're not paying attention, you're not grasping the material, just because you went through a series of videos doesn't mean that you absorbed any of it, right? Most people will. a lot of people can go through something one time. Many of our members that do really well on check rides say they've gone through the videos multiple times. And yes, that takes time and effort. Private pilot course is over 120 videos. But there's a lot of knowledge there. So when someone asks, well, do we give you an endorsement to go take the FAA written test? At this time, we don't. We've dabbled in that a little bit, but I feel like I have to log in with you through Skype or some other form, evaluate your knowledge to make sure that you're ready to go take that written test. And then we got to send that in the mail. We've had problems with people not receiving the endorsement in the mail, or they want to call last minute and they want me to send them something and get it to them by tomorrow, right? Because they're scrounging around last minute trying to go take the FAA written test. You can always go to the instructor that you're flying with can endorse you to go take the written test, and he can endorse you that you've reviewed a home study course, to get the knowledge for that written test. So we send you to your instructor who you're flying with to endorse you for the actual FAA written test. Okay? Hopefully that makes sense. And then you're going to need endorsement. Of course, when you go to fly solo, that has to come from your instructor. But also, when you get ready to go take your test for your private pilot rating, if you're going for the others, you've already been through this and you understand. This is geared for new people. When you go to take the test with an examiner, your instructor has to have flown at least 3 hours with you in the preceding 90 days, and he has to endorse that he's given you the flight and ground training. So you could be going through the videos step by step, you could be learning the knowledge, but that instructor is the one that actually has to sign you off to go take the practical test. Now, whether you learn home by yourself, studying all the books and material, or whether you use that and go through our videos at Helicopter Land Ground School, or if you just sit and do one-on-one with your instructor, what's important is that you get the knowledge up here, the things that you have to know to operate safely as a private pilot. Your instructor has to test your knowledge. Doesn't mean he had to teach you every single piece. If you're at a Part 61 school, you can learn it on your own by reading and studying. You can use Helicopter Land Ground School. You can do one-on-one with an instructor, or any combination of those that works for you. But ultimately, whoever you're flying with, that instructor is going to be the one that's going to endorse you to take that written test, even if you've used HOGS. Same thing with the practical test. So at this time, the question, do we get a certificate for completing your course? You do for viewing the videos, taking the associated written practice test, scheduling 70% or higher, and then you can download that certificate yourself. The Wings credit, that's something that you may or may not be involved in. Either way, after taking those tests, our computer network sends that to FAA, and those results will be there for you, even if you join, months later, you decide to join the FAA Wings program. So when people say, well, is your course recognized by the FAA? Yes, it is, because we have that approved, and that was all done with FAA approval. And our computers, our network is linked to the FAA site. So once you complete that test, 70% or higher, that gets piped to the FAA and will be there for the Wings credit. So that answers the question on, is it FAA approved? Yes, it is. And those written tests are available, as I mentioned in the clip earlier, they're available for private, commercial, instrument, and CFI. So hopefully that clears that up. I'm going to have Heather let me know if you all have any questions out there. But keep in mind, we're going to shoot this video out for people because Heather gets this question a lot, right? And Heather does her absolute best job. But this is something that's kind of hard to explain in an email, and people ask these questions all the time, which is it's a great question, right? People want to understand what they can be endorsed for, what kind of sign-ups you can get, what kind of a certificate you can get. So we just thought, we discussed it this morning, and I said, you know what, let's put together a video, we'll go live, and then this will be a good video that when somebody asks a question, we can say, hey, there's kind of a lot to this, we can answer your simple basic questions, but reference this video to get in detail exactly how this all works. So, Heather, do you have any pertinent questions before we bug out of there?
Well, Kenny, we don't have any questions. There's a lot of people logging in and saying hi. However, why don't you elaborate a little bit on what the FAA Wings credit is in case somebody's out there watching that sees they can get it but don't really know what it is?
Sure.
Right.
Wings credit is basically something that is, it's a voluntary thing that you can sign up for. And by getting like Wings credit, FAA Wings credit means that you're, how do I want to put it? You're doing a step beyond what the average person may or may not do, right? Because there's a certain amount of things required to become a pilot. And then you're required to have a flight review every couple years. And we know sometimes some of those flight reviews don't go so well because people don't always stay up on their knowledge. So there are a lot of different courses and a lot of things you can attend through the FAA website. There's FAA webinars. There's all kinds of things that you can attend. You can go out and attend events put on at flight schools around the country where you'll get credit for the Wings program. And it's basically just I guess the best way to explain it is to show that you're doing a little more than the average person, right? You've got accomplishment that you can show for doing additional training above and beyond what the average person would do. Does that kind of make sense to you, Heather?
Absolutely.
That's why Heather's part of all this is important, right? Because she helps look in from the outside on these questions that pop up, and she's right here with the thick of all of it, helping us answer you on a daily basis, or a Monday through Thursday, maybe sometimes Friday basis. Anything else? Anything else pop up? All right, so we're going to roll this, wrap this video up. We will have this available to send out, or we're going to keep it public anyway, and it'll be here for you. Put your comments down below. We do answer questions almost daily on YouTube. Sometimes take a little break on the weekends, but we always reply to all comments, so put your comments down below. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, and when you do, click the little bell, because when you subscribe and then click the bell, you'll be notified when we put out new videos. And we do all kinds of stuff, We do random videos like this where we just, hey, here's something that's important that we need to talk about. We get questions from members. We get questions from the general public. And YouTube and video is a great way to answer these questions. If one person has a question, there's probably a whole long list of other people that have that same question. And we've answered hundreds. By now, it's got to be thousands of questions in the last 10 years here on YouTube. So put your comments down below, subscribe to the channel, click that little bell, and we shall see you in the next video. Let it roll for a couple seconds and click the old stop button.